So this is day 2 of Goa, and if you haven't heard part 1, I think you should listen to that, otherwise you might get a little confused here and there. So anyway, on day 2 of Goa, it already started off very wobbly. So if you remember from the last episode, I mentioned how we booked water sports. So when we booked the water sports, we were told that we would be picked from our hotel in the morning by a bus and taken to a point from which we'll be put on a boat and sent to an island on which we'll do our water sports activities. And all this will be for the whole day. Like we would be dropped back at our hotel by the bus at like 5 p.m. So we happily sat on the bus at 8 in the morning and stopped at many places to pick up other people who had booked. And then finally we reached the final destination in about like an hour. So at that point, the organizer wrote what package we booked on our wrists with a marker. Like mine was without scuba diving, and Neha auntie and her daughters was with scuba diving. We sat in the boat and we started in the direction of the alleged island. And the boat was going like very slow, but I just thought that was the normal speed at first. But then 30 minutes later, we were given some snacks like in a brown bag. Not like a bag, it's like a paper bag, whatever, the brown bag. And it turned out to be like samosas and patties. And I was hungry, so I ate mine. And a few minutes later, a guy told the organizer on the boat who gave us the food that he didn't want to eat it. So the organizer just said, अरे अभी रुक जाओ, वापस मत दो, अभी यहाँ पे कुछ पक्षी आएंगे, उन्हें खिला देना. Few minutes later we saw seagulls in the water and the guy he tore off pieces from the samosa and the patty and he threw it towards the seagulls. And then suddenly there was a whole bunch of seagulls around the boat and everyone was throwing their snacks to the seagulls. And as soon as the snacks were over, the seagulls suddenly stopped, as if like they were trained in a way. But anyway, the boat just seemed to get slower and as if it just kept going and going and going. And then in 3 hours total, we finally reached the so-called island. But guess what? They didn't even let us get off on the so-called island. The boat was parked like 2 kilometers away from the island where they were gonna make us do our sports. By that time, we started getting headaches from being in the heat without proper food. Then the sports started. Like the banana ride came and 4 people sat on it. And the ride started. And just 10 seconds later, it ended. And we were so shocked. We were so pissed. Like, huh? We thought it was a joke. But no, the next batch of people got the same 10 seconds. At that point, we kind of figured that like, oh, it's a scam. And they made us feed the seagulls as a distraction. But then we did all our activities like the banana ride, the bumper ride, parasailing, speedboat and everything. And then the master plan started. I acted as if I was sick and we told them that we wanted to get off on the shore that we were parked 2 kilometers away from. So they said okay after some arguing and called a speedboat from which we were dropped at the shore. Mind you, we didn't know anything about this so-called island, but it was better than staying in the boat because we literally saw the boat driver spitting pan in the water when we were for the scuba diving. Disgusting. And we couldn't see in the water anyway, so it would have been useless. Turned out the so-called island was just Bagmalo beach, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I don't know how to pronounce this correctly. So yeah, it was just a beach in South Goa. And as soon as we stepped on land, we felt so much better. We ate at a beachside restaurant and almost immediately felt normal again. Then we booked a cab to Anjana beach, from where we went to Anjana flea market and booked a cab from there to Kalangut market, shopped there and then went to Kalangut beach and then spent the night over there relaxing in a shack and walked our way to the hotel which was near Kalangut beach. And that's it. That was our day 2. And you might want to stay tuned for day 3 because we just don't learn our lesson, do we?